The incoming Trump administration's ICE raids begin on Tuesday in Chicago. And here's the critical information that you need to know. ICE is sending an additional 150 agents to the city of Chicago to engage in these raids. And you should know that the operations are being labeled internally by the Trump administration as the post-inaugural operations. So Donald Trump's objective here is to engage in a shock and awe campaign, and it will be effective. Visuals of federal agents in ballistic gear knocking down doors, that is meant to terrify people. It is meant to provoke a reaction. It is, by definition, escalatory. And what we can expect, because these plans have been announced ahead of time, is that the local community, not just in Chicago, but in every sanctuary city, local communities are going to respond with protest. If you plan on being involved in any of these protests, you need to know everything you can about your local ACLU. If you have the capacity to support these protests, you should be donating now to legal aid services in your city. If you want to read the Times article about this, I've posted the gift link over on the Blue Butterfly app. And check out the description below. I'm going to link Eliza Orlins. She is a public defender who's giving advice on how people should deal with these operations if they're going to be targeted or if they're going to be near them. Donald Trump's objective is to cause despair, to cause shock and awe. These are natural responses to abuses of power. But please know that thousands of people around the country have been preparing for this moment to be involved in preserving civil liberties in every way that is legally possible. If you want to learn more about what you can expect from the fascist regime, go to veteransfightingfascism.org and look for our book club. We've got a handful of books that you should start reading about the history of fascism, from Mussolini to the present. We recommend books by Timothy Snyder, by Ruth Ben-Ghiat, by Masha Gessen, by Anne Applebaum, by Ibram X. Kendi. Support your local library, support your local bookstore, because even if you don't have the capacity to be involved in protests, local bookstores and local libraries are key centers of education and resistance against fascism. So if you are too afraid, if you are disabled, if you don't have the financial capacity to support these protests, supporting your local bookstore and your local library simply by going to these places physically, meeting with other like-minded people who want to learn, starting book clubs. These are things you can do for free. These are forms of resistance that cannot be taken away from you easily.